So I was talking to a few people, as said, and I think a lot of you guys actually tried the Flame Mage and the Frost Guard. But from my experience, or at least from the play tests that I've done so far, I think the Rogue, the first character, is the easiest one to try the game with first. Poison, the poison mechanic itself, is pretty strong, since it sticks on enemies and can damage over time, and you get a lot of free damage basically for a lot less affords or a lot less energy consumption than the other characters, because especially the flame mage, even though flaming fire cards get pretty high in damage later on, pretty expensive when it comes to energy consumption. uh, and for the frost guard, I think we do have some interesting mechanics, especially the shield in its upgraded versions is pretty interesting. But I think that this character also isn't the easiest to start with. So let's try a run with the rogue. Uh, I think this screen, maybe if you haven't noticed, you can switch the starting relics or starting items. But also I advise here to just start with the deal 1 extra damage to poisoned enemies as a starter, because that's a pretty easy item to understand. Um, Yeah, okay, so we can just start with the map maybe real quick. So because the map, we've added the map feature late in the development, so just very closely to the actual playtest when we started playtesting, before we didn't have the map yet. And you could choose from all taverns all the time, which was quite confusing and quite overwhelming. And we tried to basically steal this idea from Into the Breach, from the subset games guys, because I think having the map as an overview is a good way to basically tell the story of traveling the world, but also it makes sense that you can only ever choose from 2 taverns. Obviously, in the first tavern, you don't choose; you just start with the first tavern, and then all the other taverns basically give you a hint of how hard they are. Basically, the difficulty calculation, or what you want to call it, is kind of maybe not too accurate right now, but it gives you a general idea of how hard the next taverns are. And you can also see that the this little metal icon means that the quest and the boss will give you this amount of gold. So you possibly can, if you go up, for example, to Goblin's Pint, you can possibly get a level 2 difficulty tavern and possibly get 4 gold, and the other ones are quite hard. For example, this one, 3 and 2 gold, 3 and 3 gold. So you might go for the easier taverns first and then go around basically. But you cannot go everywhere. There's always one tavern that you never can discover, and basically you have to choose which path you take through the world, so to speak. Yeah, let's start with the first tavern. So the first tavern is fixed. We changed that to be more easy for the beginners. So the first boss always is the sleepy slime. Mm. Yes, rest keyword, which means if you don't select this enemy, he will basically trigger his ability, which means he gains 2 health. So you should be selecting him every turn if you don't want to get him to be harder to kill later on. And then also for the quests, I think we have the select all cards in 1 turn quest fixed also in the first tavern, and then later on the bosses, the quests, and also the tavern bounty will basically change every time you visit the taverns. So just as a general overview, I don't want to do the like very basic introduction because you can see that in the other video, but you have to select cards in the path and you go along the path hitting monsters, uh, replenishing your energy or your health. You combine cards so you can basically remove monsters from the board and try to spawn the Tavern boss, which is this little icon up here. You have to kill 3 monsters in the first Tavern to spawn the Tavern boss. The Tavern boss is an optional task, just like the quest. And then we also, in the last iteration, we added these treasure events. So every tavern has a treasure event, and treasure event means that basically you have to do something to basically get a treasure. And this is the treasure imp, I think we called him. And he discards himself at the end of the turn, so he runs away from you. It's basically stolen from Diablo. And once you kill him, he actually gives you his treasure. So you should be attacking him as well, and maybe should try to poison him as well. And that's where the first rogue card comes in. So that's the backpack is a wrong icon. It should be like a poison potion. It deals 2 poison damage to all activated monsters, so it only deals the poison damage to the monsters you have already activated in your path. So every monster here basically was dead already before. So it isn't really smart to actually do it here, just in case you want to poison this guy. But for example, this is one of the cases where I would say it's not worth to spend the card because it's a consumable card right now. It will be gone once you've done it. It's not smart to basically have only 2 poison damage on this card for this turn. So we ignore this. Then the timer for the boss, or the counter for the boss, ticks down. And we get these new cards shuffled in, and also the first tavern is pretty small, so we get to the first depths of the tavern pretty quick. So, as you know, bonfire rewards can be direct rewards or direct improvements for your health and energy, so you can replenish them, or you can get an extra card. We added a few extra cards for energy and health consumption. Those are interesting when you're already at full health or full energy and don't basically need an improvement or an replenishment, but just take the energy replenishment here. And yeah, as you can see, the boss is now spawned, and also the Tavern Merchant each round, or after the first depths, basically the Tavern Merchant is added, and he will give you a drafting screen so you can draft new cards. So in this case, for example, the monster here on the right side, he adds a new random monster at the end of the turn. So we should be concerned that this guy is actually selected and will be removed at the end, will be discarded at the end before he actually adds more monsters. And then we also want to actually poison the boss. And I think that's a good, to actually use our poison potion. We cannot avoid that this guy will hit us. That's not too bad. And I'm thinking if it's easier to go the other way around. Because now we're wasting basically the card that actually gives us energy back from the poisoned enemies. Or we're just getting 1. Could get more here, but we have a lot of energy, and we do have both energy and health replenishment cards. So now I'm drafting the first card. So obviously the the starting deck, the first 3 cards are always the same. And then the class cards or character cards basically are added as well. And then we get an option here. So this is a lightning damage card, which is basically dealing 1 to 5 damage at random. So meaning that each time you activate it, can deal up to 5 damage. Lightning in our game should be thematically very volatile and very random, so it can be really strong, but it also can be really weak. And especially this card, because it has a high max damage, also has a downside of actually attacking your character. So later on, I think we will have an equipment, for example, that makes you immune to lightning damage. So this would be very strong then. Blocking an enemy is pretty interesting because it obviously avoids damage, direct damage from an enemy, but can also be later combined with cards like the Protector ally, which actually turns shields into heals potions, which is pretty interesting. But I think for now, for my first pick, I would just go for the plain damage card because in the beginning it's good to have plain damage increase to basically get faster to the Tavern boss if you want to actually kill it. So Tavern boss suffers 4 poison damage here. We get another pick. Still very high on energy and health, so I'm just getting the gold here. And yeah, as you can see, poison works in a way that is pretty similar to, say, the Spire, where it hits for 4 and then it reduces its amount by 1. So meaning the next turn it hits for 3. So that's why I think the rogue card is the rogue card, but the rogue character is pretty strong right now because poison does tons of damage to a single target. And you can kill bosses very easily by just waiting out the turns for the poison to actually. Once again, our goblin or imp, sorry, the treasure imp is spawned, so we actually do want to combine our 3 attack for him, so we get him down. And then we have 2 attack left, which is bad in this case. So if we hit the damage ability monster, X actually heals the goblin. So might not be too smart to do that right now. We can get 1 extra damage off him if we want, then he dies this turn. But actually we could no, we actually should attack him because again, if we let him rest, he will get 6 health and then it would even take longer to actually get rid of him. So just get the 1 energy. Energy replenish card, so he dies. Those are pretty cool cards. This card in the middle, reduce the next card's energy by 2, is pretty strong because this card actually reduces a card's energy consumption permanently. So it's not just for 1 turn, it's just for the whole tavern. So this can make later cards that have a high energy consumption pretty strong. So that's definitely cool. So 2 guys already poisoned now from the last turn. You can just like power through, get this guy, 5, this guy, get this guy again, heal this one, but I think doesn't matter really because he doesn't do anything, and he will die from poison before actually he can trigger his end of turn. So that's another nuance. Poison triggers before end of turn, so it's basically possible to kill monsters that have end turn abilities with poison before they actually can trigger the end of turn ability. So now I have multiple issues here. So once the tavern is over, the tavern exit spawns. We changed it so that you have to select the card last to actually activate, meaning you could go around the tavern door, basically go past it and not finish the tavern for this turn. That's totally possible, but also we do want to keep an eye on the barkeeper. So he's basically wanting that you pay for your visit. That's the that's the thematical idea behind it. And when he rests, he attacks you, and after that he increases his damage by 1. So meaning this turn he won't attack us. So we have 1 turn in between before he starts to get angry. But if we stay around too long and don't pay him, he will hit us very hard every turn. So, but I'm actually thinking if we should push our luck a bit and try to get back our attack cards, because that's another not explained mechanic here right now, is that once you've run out of cards, obviously, from the draw pile, there's only cards in the discard pile left. So, but once we start to get rid of enough cards from the board, let's do it like this. cards will drawn from the discard pile. And from the discard pile, there's a, I think 50-50 chance that either a good card or a bad card is drawn. So as you can see here, I'm hoping for good cards like this. So that was pretty lucky to kill actually this guy. And we can just, can we leave now? No, I don't think so. We have to wait one more turn. So we kill this guy. And then we get a treasure card from him. And this treasure card is discarded into the draw pile, which is then drawn, and then three discarded cards are drawn again. And the barkeeper will hit us now, but we just let him be and then leave the tavern. So now we completed both the treasure event and the boss. I failed to do the tavern quest. I totally forgot about that. It's good to check that now in a while, what you actually have to do. I can show you where you can check that next. Okay, so and then the end of the tavern you get the reward. You can choose from 3 types of rewards. Equipment rewards is basically equipment that you can use to directly influence the outcome of your turns. So most of the equipment is very direct. So for example, if you select 3 cards, you deal extra damage, stuff like this. The charms are more on the luck-based side, and they basically give you benefits based on a 50-50 chance. Every charm has a 50-50 chance to do its ability, and it's most of the time pretty minor, but I've personally had the multiple times the experience that Tavern charms, especially when they give you energy or health or some extra cards, they can actually change the outcome of a game. And yeah, if you feel that you might lose because of 1 or 2 energy or 1 or 2 health missing, maybe go for a tavern chairman and see if they can basically give you a bit of extra luck boost. And then the third option I just wanted to show here is the tavern forge, the card forge, which means you upgrade your starting cards. I think Stay Inspired did this pretty cool in a pretty cool way that you could upgrade any card once, make a better version of it, but we decided to have like an upgradable uh, pass almost. Like you can upgrade a card 3 times and it increases in utility or damage or basically stuff the card can do. A good example is that the scroll or the poison energy replenish card basically also adds health replenish, making this card way stronger, for example, than the first version. And also here the poison potion, I think it's called, increase the poison to all damage by 1. And this card, in difference to this card, actually does it without being consumed and does it instantly. So that's why I'm picking it. It's a pretty powerful card. So, and then the bounty rewards are basically, I don't know if we will keep the name bounty rewards or we just have like a shop, whatever metaphor for it, where you can basically spend your gold that you earned through the run. So unfortunately, I'm missing 1 gold for a duplication perk, which is pretty strong. I think that's the most OP and most overpowered perk, because duplicating cards that are already good is just making everything even even more overpowered. So yeah, that's the most expensive one right now, and obviously we're working on the balancing for the gold costs here. We could exchange a card, remove an old card and draft a new one, and we can also transform a card from random into a random higher tier. So both options are interesting. This one obviously is more random, but obviously you could also be more lucky with this. So we just try that. And I think because we haven't drafted any really important card yet, you can just take the dagger, which is the weakest attack. So it will now transform this dagger into a higher tier card. So basically into a sword that deals 2 damage. Now I have 2 swords that do deal 2 damage, which is 4 damage in total for the cost of 2 energy, which is pretty good. So right, so after finishing the first tavern, you get back to the map, and then you can discover two new taverns basically. So meaning you can see the little pathways or roads that go to each of the other taverns from the one that we finished. We are here right now. Later on, we will need a marker that basically shows where you are. And from here on, we can discover the taverns. We cannot see yet what the taverns actually have enemies, which enemies are in there and which quests and so on. But we can, as I said, have a rough estimate. So pretty hard, middle with a lot of coin value and gold value and here as well. Definitely taking this one maybe as the next. And now you can decide, do you want to look at one of those harder ones? Probably not, because you just want to look at the ones with more gold, I guess, because I'm going here. And then once you've selected two, you always have two options to basically continue your journey. So you can look at the next tavern here. Shield and Axe has the Goblin King boss that attacks for one, and when it rests, gives a monster, which includes himself, I think, to health. And then in the second tavern, there's a house rule added as well. A random enemy becomes immune to lightning damage at the start of the turn, which is bad for lightning damage based cards, obviously. But we don't have any lightning damage based cards, so it's not that bad for us. And the quest is lose 3 or more health from energy drain in one turn, which is it's doable, but it's not the easiest task from the task that we have right now, quests. And the other boss is the Skeleton King. And when he's damaged, he adds 1 sharp bones card to the draw pile. And the sharp bones basically do 2 damage if you pick them up, and you cannot avoid that. So this is a pretty nasty enemy for especially my character, because that's what happened multiple times is when you poison this guy and he gets damaged at the end of the turn. Every each turn, or every end of each turn, he adds one of his sharp bone cards, and you cannot stop that from happening, because once he's poisoned, he will get at least 1 damage. So in this case, I think we should go with this guy, because he's pretty strong. The later you face him. So that's one detail that you might have not yet recognized, but it's happening, and that is that the bosses actually scale. So if we encounter this guy now in his second tavern form, so to speak, he has this ability. But when we encounter him in the I think in the fourth tavern level, he will be stronger and he will do different things or more nasty things. He will have more HP. And in the fifth tavern, he's really nasty. I think he even adds 2 or 3 sharp bones on hit. So you really have to be careful how early or how late you actually encounter bosses. So depending on how you deal damage, especially as I explained with the poison mechanic, this guy later on is pretty hard to defeat. But just keep in mind, bosses, quests, and everything is optional. You only have to finish the tavern. Don't get upset when you don't kill a boss. There's plenty of opportunity to get more gold. I think later on, when we will start with high score chasing and that kind of stuff, then definitely try to kill bosses, because it's free money, so to speak, free gold for you to have a better score. But in the beginning, I think you don't stress too much over that. Here the monster, what was it called? The slime on the top is pretty nasty, because he increases card energy when he's hit. So that means if I hit him, he increases this card that I started the path with to 2 energy. So mostly you just avoid those guys if you can. And yeah, that's okay. And then just try to here. Decrease the counter. So we complete the quest, defeat 5 more. What was it? Oh, yeah, I wanted to show you that, right? So, defeat 5 or more monsters in one turn. Was it actually 5 monsters? Could that be a bug? I don't know. I have to double check that in the video because I thought it was only 4. Yeah, right. So you can just double check what the quest, the boss, and also the house rule is. The house rule here is that the spawn counter increases by 2 after each reshuffle. So that's also pretty nasty if you want to spawn the boss quick. You have to kill a lot of monsters fast and don't wait too long, because every time the counter increases, it gets harder and harder to actually spawn the boss, and the later the boss actually spawns, the less time you have, so to speak, before the barkeeper appears to actually hit the boss. Because once the barkeeper is there, the pressure of actually finishing a tavern increases by quite a lot. So our treasure event is the combine key fragment event, which is pretty easy. It's just it's just pretty costly to do it, so you should do it on a turn where you don't need a lot of energy. Both of these already attack me for 2, which is kind of nasty, and I can't do anything about this right now. So, but as I said before, we can use this card, which instantly poisons every other enemy. I just have to select one additional card, and since only one card is left in the deck, I could just use this, and then basically wait for those guys to die at some point. So that's interesting. I need to add, actually, that's also a note for me. I need to add a way to remove that to actually look at my cards on the board. But I can see I have still the energy card here. I have the health card here. So even though I have 0 energy, I'm going for the gold here to maybe have more opportunities to get a better bounty reward later on. And let's see, we could we could combine the 2 key fragments, which brings us down to a lot, brings us down a lot, and brings us down to 1 energy. I think we can do that. So when you combine the key fragments, you get the completed key basically to open chest. And as you can see, the other monsters now slowly dying. Okay, this is good. So this should give us 4 energy back with our energy energy card. But here, for example, we should take care. This guy adds 1 burn. Burn means card basically gets a burn tag, can increase, and a burn means once you touch or select a burned card, you get damaged by it. So and burn can also be applied to your cards. So having your own cards being burned is not very favorable. So let's see then. Think we didn't just do we do actually? Let's see. We want the energy from all the monsters. And we don't want to discard this guy up here. I think we will go all the way around and take the hit here. So the guy on the top left dies. And here is one of the Tavern uniques. So that's also a feature that's not really like explained right now, but after the first Tavern, 3 Tavern unique cards are added basically on a random. There's a pool of unique cards that basically are chosen from each time, and they have very specific things that they do or don't do basically. And this card, for example, is called the Sturdy Door, has an aura effect. So aura means that once this card is basically revealed, its aura is activated, and it's present as long as the card is present on the board, or as long as it's active when it's shocked. Shocked is a state where card abilities are disabled. As long as it's basically on the board, it does its ability. So in this case, you can't select any other cards after this. So meaning if I would to go here, and then I decide, oh yeah, I need to unlock the chest, do that. The door is basically blocking me, so I would have to kill the door first. So this guy also has burn. This guy will die anyways from the poison. I think I would just use one sword to kill this guy off and get the treasure. Uh, yeah, so this card is a golden dagger, does 3 damage, gains you only 1 gold, but 3 damage is quite strong, especially early on. So against bosses, for example, this can be pretty good. And gain 1 gold for each defeated monster this turn. So meaning if you have a turn where you defeat a lot of monsters, this can be really good. But it also triggers on game end. So you either discard this card, basically select it and discard it for a new turn, for a new chance to actually use it, or you basically have to do it in the turn when it spawns. So it's a bit of a downside, I'd say. Yeah. And this card actually is also interesting. Earlier I was talking about the energy reduction cards. So this card has a lot of energy cost, but you can use it multiple times, meaning you could up to, if you draw it, if you draw it by a different ability, maybe even more, but you could use it up to 5 times, uh, spending 5 energy each turn. But if you can reduce its energy cost, this is pretty powerful as well. But I think I would just go for the 1 gold and the damage card here. So now drafting starts again. Again, volatile random lightning damage, dealing do 2 ice damage and freezing the next enemy is pretty strong because we can combine that with poison, right? So poison is triggered at the end of the turn. So we can hit a guy, select him, freeze him, and poison him in 1 turn. And he doesn't get discarded, so he instantly basically suffers the poison damage. Or we can go for the poisoned arrow, which does poison damage to all non-adjacent enemies. So this is a very positional card. Obviously, if it's in the middle, it's not good. But if it's spawned or dealt to the outer slots position, then it's pretty powerful. But I actually go with the frozen one because I think the synergy between poisoning a card and freezing it is pretty good. And so the second bonfire, in this case, we actually would have needed a bit more energy. I think, and we had 3 gold already. I think that's okay. So you just go for health replenish here. Okay, so we still need 3 guys to spawn the boss, and we're already on the second depth. So let's see that we can get this here. I'm low on energy as well. This should spawn the boss. And I'm waiting now for the boss to spawn, and I actually want to hit him hard early on so that he doesn't spawn as many sharp bones from his ability. I think that's a good turn then for us. There's his card, and he instantly gets demolished from our attack and the poison, which is pretty good. So we only get one of those bone cards here, sharp bone cards, which means dealing 2 damage to the character that you can't avoid. So this guy dies. All those guys don't die. This guy dies. We could go for the energy replenish here. And this guy has 2 energy consumption, which is energy cost, which is pretty high. So let's replenish our health here. Yeah, okay, the door also got buffed by this guy. I definitely need more energy, I feel. So I'm getting this card, which gives me energy based on the health of the next monster. Which is also a bit dependent on what kind of monster you actually select with it. But yeah. So what happened here? Maybe what was too quick to see. We actually need to add the slow down for that animation. Actually, it's card is called Annoying Fly. It's also Tavern unique, and it basically discards a random card and then itself, so you can never get it. Discards always one random card. So if it's a card that basically you need that turn, you're pretty much screwed from the Annoying Fly. Okay, and that's interesting here. So this guy is also Tavern unique. I think it's the Frost Sprite or Ice Sprite, which has the ice immunity symbol here. So meaning I cannot damage this guy with my ice attack, but I can still freeze it. So let's see again. This guy is dead. This guy is dead. This guy is not dead yet. And we cannot really do anything about the ice guy. He will be discarded as oh, no, we can actually. Then let's just discard him and get back our energy and see what comes up next. None of those guys are dead. Okay, this guy discard adds 2 monsters on discard. This guy is shocked by this card, so meaning he can't use his end ability, which is good for us, I guess. And do we need to do that? Yeah, we can do that, and then just get rid of that guy. And then we're at the end of the turn already. So I don't think we need to wait to actually accept. Okay, so we finished both. It's good. I do want to check equipment. Frozen cards reduce their energy cost by 1. Could be interesting. We already have our freezing ability card. The first attack each turn deals 1 extra damage. The first time you take damage each turn is reflected onto a random enemy. I would say this is a pretty strong item if you have more frost cards, because it gives you the ability to replenish your energy pretty consistently, and especially later on, that's very helpful. But this item is also, I think personally right now, one of the strongest, because it can avoid basically damage from any source and then reflect it to a pretty good on gold, but we're pretty bad at rewards actually. That's pretty sad. Decreasing energy cost, increasing damage of a card, or removing a card and adding a new one. I think we could just increase damage for cheap card. They're all pretty similar. Maybe we can go for this one. So, and after the second tavern, you only discover 1. So we played this one, and then we can go left to Battle Brothers, or we can go to Hole in the Wall and look at this tavern. I think we look at this tavern. Okay, so Ghoul Boss. Yeah, the Ghoul Boss has a pretty nasty ability where he's immune to everything until your health is at 3 or lower. So you actually have to purposefully reduce your energy to actually attack him. That's pretty nasty, and an enemy gains 1 health at the end of the turn in this tavern, so that's okay. And never have less than 3 health throughout 1 turn is also pretty nasty, because actually this clashes this clashes with the ability of the boss, right? So we can actually never finish the quest and kill the boss, or vice versa. So it's interesting. And here we had this problem boss that attacks for 2 in this version, 15 HP, and gives the monster 5 HP, which is also pretty nasty. I think because we're so dependent on poison, this boss is pretty hard to kill. Uh, and I think I'd rather take on this guy and hope for the tavern on the top to be not as hard. So let's try this. Okay, we also, that's something I haven't explained yet. We also have a inventory here now where you can actually look at stuff and remind yourself. Can we show it? Yeah, so if I select this guy, I reflect his damage and then onto a random enemy, which means I hit himself, which then means I could um, kill him with just 2 damage. And I actually want to remove this guy, but not this way. I would go this guy first, then attack this one, then this. And we actually don't have to use the poison energy replenish card yet. Okay. Ah yeah, every turn one enemy obviously gets lightning immune. It's from the Tavern house rule. Discard, discard, this guy gives burn. And so I would love to get energy back and attack everyone, so can kill everyone off. This is a pretty good turn. Low on energy again, but no energy replenish cards here. I think I will go with this one because again, this can be pretty strong with the right card combination. And we're pretty early in the tavern, so this could be good. So change I just did in the last version, you haven't maybe seen that, is that the map fragments treasure event now has 2 directions from which we can actually select the fragments. So it isn't too bad if one fragment is in the corner and then it's just top, right, and bottom is basically blocked. Also, even though in this, no, here bottom is okay, but it could be that top and right could be the directions, and then it's still, this card's still screwed, but the possibility for that to happen, too bad anymore. Okay, so my attack card here, my freezing card, my ice damage card is actually cursed right now from this guy, meaning it costs 1 more. Curse is a status effect, so to speak. A cursed enemy card decreases energy cost, a player card increases it. So we can wait out the curse for next turn, I guess. So let's see. Select from bottom or left. So going left on this card is fine. Going left on this card is also fine. And then going up from the bottom should actually trigger the event. And on the way, I'm picking up the energy because all those cards don't cost energy, which is good. So this left, left, and bottom should trigger the event. Then we find the treasure chest, it's added. The map itself or the fragments get removed. So let's see. We could now use this card to make this card basically free of cost nothing basically. We can unlock this card. This treasure chest. We can hit this guy, he's frozen. This card damages adjacent cards. No, sorry. This card increases the energy of adjacent card by damage. So meaning this guy is already dead, and if he increases in energy, we don't care really. This guy as well. This is the next turn. So that's our treasure event again. We see in this card. This card also, I'm still not really happy with it. It basically increases the energy cost by 2 of adjacent cards, but I still think for the energy, for the, sorry, gold gain, it's still too easy. But we can use it. I can show you what I mean by that. I think I need to design that card in a different way that it's, I don't know, maybe increasing energy on turn start or something nastier than it is right now, because 3 gold in exchange for that is still not enough. So now the drafting phase again, and we see that we are offered 2 ally cards. So ally cards are also special cards. Those are basically helper that visit you on your journey or help you on your journey. And those cards, this is something maybe you have recognized it, but it's also a pretty good tip. Those cards are basically increased in your health. So because once you have an ally card selected in your path, ally cards tank damage of monsters and abilities. Meaning once an ally card is damaged enough, it also dies and is removed from your deck. So it's a downside of that, but still you can basically use them to increase your which is pretty powerful. And we have a nice choice here between the, I think he's called Swordmaster, which increases the damage of the next sword, doubles it even. We do have 2 swords, or you have 3 swords, which is plenty of opportunity to actually use them. And we do have this guy who doubles poison on the next enemy, which we also pretty is also pretty favorable for us. I'm not sure, but I think so. I would say because we have 3 swords, it's probably better to get this guy to help us with the sword increased sword damage. Okay. So again, what I was talking about earlier, this card, when it will be triggered at the end of the turn, will increase this card and this card because they're adjacent by 2 in energy consumption. So we should use those cards this turn. And the boss also spawned, but we're still pretty low on energy. I don't like that actually. So we have to get energy from our ability here. So let's see who he. See, that's a bug right here. No, he shocks this card. Okay. But we already used this card, so that doesn't matter that much. This guy definitely needs to be killed. I'm thinking that's not good. So you can always try and see what he does, right? So if that's also a good tip, basically. Just select cards, see what that does, so see what they do, and if they do something favorable, you do it, and not if not, then you don't. It's easy as that, because freezing means you could basically got a frozen card of yours, right? So, and as I said earlier, freezing means you don't discard a card, and then means you could reuse your own cards as well. So I'm basically hitting the boss here. So he hits me for, he can't hit me for 2, right? Because I have the reflection. And I think he killed, no, he attacked himself. That's also something UI was that's hard to see. Yeah, I think he the reflect kills him. Not kills him, but attacks him. Okay, so this card gives me 3, then poison is applied, and the boss is frozen from this guy's ability. So I definitely need more energy. I could also go for health, but I think I want to have the energy card here. I think we have to see if it's worth to get this guy maybe off the board. Those guys are also, I mean, they're not difficult, but they're annoying because they get more healthy, and might be worth to remove one of those guys. So the boss also is pretty nasty in terms of giving health, right? So he gives 5 health. This guy is already at 11, but That's the cool part. Now we can use his beefy health to actually gain back all our energy, which is pretty good. And we can try this guy again, so that's good. He freezes this card, which means we can use it next turn again. And we can spend a bit more energy to actually get rid of this card, because that's another Tavern unit that only shocks player cards, which is also nasty. I think I'm pretty much set up for killing the boss now. So this guy's dead. We can replenish our energy here, and we have 4 cards left, so let's see. Would be good to get a health thing here, which we're not getting. So well, let's see. Do we get energy now or later through the card? I think I'm actually going for the card because it's only 2 energy, and this space gives us 5 energy later when we actually can replenish or can get back 5 energy. Okay, so here's my that's for example good. That's my health buffer now. So he has 2 extra health, which is indirectly, as I explained, added to my health. Okay, so replenishing energy here makes sense. Or does it? Yeah, it does make sense. We're only discarding 2 cards then, and this guy will burn us. I think I will actually go here, kill this guy, go here, poison everyone, and then get back my energy this way. I think that's better. So this guy shocked himself at the end of the turn. But shocks or being shocked is removed at the beginning of the turn. So when he shocks himself at the end of the turn, basically does nothing. This Tavern unit here is also super nasty. It's the annoying mosquito. And he reduces player energy by 1 for each monster on the board at the end of the turn. So this guy definitely needs to go, because he will drain energy like really quick. But we're in the last depth, so we can just discard him and don't care for him anymore. And we do have, well, we could try this. We could go here, buff this guy, and actually kill him. Kill this guy and kill this guy. And then we basically continue. I'm still super low on health, which I don't like. And I'm actually hoping for this guy to freeze. Okay. No, he doesn't freeze my apple, which is bad. 2 more cards, so only the exit and the tavern barkeeper. Could go here. Could go here. And hope for my apple to come back. But I don't think I actually need it. I can just leave, because the tavern barkeeper will only hit me for 1. And the rest of the monsters don't do any damage. Okay, so nice. So that's the 3rd tavern down. Finished both, which is also good. We're pretty high on coins right now. So I think I will forge this card or this card. I think I'm going to forge this card because now in the 4th and 5th tavern the difficulty increases quite a lot, I think. And we have pretty bad, even though we have a lot of gold, which is pretty ironic, like very low cost picks from the bounty rewards all the time. So I could increase damage again, but I could also add a Tavern Charm, and I think I'm going for a Charm right now. So first one says 50% chance to consume to not consume a consumable card, which is cool in combination with the Tavern, sorry, Bonfire cards. So this one is pretty strong because it gives you energy and health, and this guy, this charm gives you 2 energy. I think I will go for this guy here. That can be pretty strong. So since I was here, I now can only go here to discover this one because this one's already discovered. So I'm missing basically out on both of these. I actually, I think I can, when I finish this tavern, I can still discover this one. But as it's 3 difficulty versus 2 difficulty at the same gold amount, I won't look at those two. So the new one is the Lich King. Okay, so this guy basically has an ethereal is also a keyword, should be bold. Ethereal keyword means he's not selectable, so you can't click on him. He just stays there and does his thing, and he does discard 2 random cards, and at the end of the turn loses 3 health. So those 2 cards can be monsters, but can be also your cards. So it's a pretty random boss. House rule is a random enemy is frozen at the start of the turn, which can be quite nasty. And we don't have any real good cards that basically damage frozen cards. So yeah, and the quest is quite easy to do, but can be nasty when you actually need to replenish energy. The other one again. Ah, yeah, okay, that was this guy. Hmm. We could play this tavern fast, ignore him, uh, and then go for the Lich King in the end. I think that's pretty good. Okay, let's see if I can play this a bit faster so we can get through. We're already an hour. Last select from left to open lock 1 of 3. So this card is basically screwed here. I can't select it from the left side because it's on the bottom left already. So I need to discard this to get it in a better spot in the next depth. Let's see. So 4 to the next one. Sorry, 5. He attacks also for 1, and then it's 3. And then I actually don't want to go here because this card is pretty powerful and I want to have it here for when the enemies are poisoned. um, oh, this one is also pretty nasty. 3 random monsters on the end of the turn, but now it's shocked from this guy. Let's see, we could do this deals 1 extra damage to him. This reflects damage to him again. Kill this guy and then replenish 4 and 3. I think that's good. When he gets damaged, he gains 1 attack power, attack damage, but stifle. Definitely going for an energy card here because we have so much gold. I don't think we need any more. Let's see. Okay, so this guy froze 3 cards. Those cards. This card was already frozen, which is pretty good. This guy adds 2 burn. Can go here. No, that's definitely not a good idea because then he stays on the board and hits me. Get some energy. And we're wasting this. We could kill this guy. Yeah, okay, Matthew. Good night. Uh, you can watch the video later, see if we won or not. So, okay, so this is also funny. The merchant is basically shocked, so I can't draft the card this turn, but we can wait for the next one, I guess. So now I can select this from the left at the as the last card to open a lock, which is good. So this guy attacks at the end of the turn, so we need to remove him, I think. This is good. And we need to go from the left, so this is not good. Hmm. Yeah. Those guys are pretty easy to kill, I think, so just do it like this. The boss spawned for us. And now he's left of the box. That's not what I wanted. Anyways, I'm taking 2 energy damage, 2 energy reduction here. Maybe take energy back here. So this obviously is super strong, but also super costly. All attack cards deal double damage, so you can do crazy amounts of damage with a lot of swords that I have, and even in combination with this guy, so you can like kill a boss in one turn if the cards align in the right way. This guy increases for each spell, and we don't. Yeah, we have 2 spells, so we could increase him at 2 max, so that's not too good. Hmm. I know this is very tempting to get this card the because of all the damage we could do with it, but I'm actually going for this because this is also something there were situations where picking only good cards means draining your energy so badly because at some point you have to select those cards because the monsters get stronger, that you actually kill yourself by picking too many good cards. Too many too good cards that cost too much energy. So I'm going for this card because it doesn't cost energy and it still synergizes with our poison character. Okay, full on energy, which is good. This is a bomb that when it's destroyed uh, gives monsters 2 health. So attacks for 6. Wow. And he instantly killed this guy. Okay, so because of the reflection armor, which is pretty powerful, as I said, uh, that was pretty easy. Do we go for more gold? I think we can go for one more of those. We still have one left here. I think that's something visually we also not seeing right now, but like right now I'm got energy back from the charm, and I think the charm in that sense is pretty powerful because if you're lucky enough to get a lot of energy back from those charms, it's pretty cool. So going here will reflect the damage again, and here basically half his HP. Um, I'm a pretty good spot right now. I just don't want to engage with this boss. I don't want to get low on health. Actually, I just want to just select from left again. Didn't we do that last turn? Can't remember. Maybe we didn't, and now it's select from the right. That's also bad. Reflect this guy. Remove this. It's a bit sad that I need to remove this as well. We just need to, I'm just discarding a few cards here now because I want to just continue. This guy got buffed by the bomb. This guy's dead. We could kill this guy. He reflects himself, the damage on himself. We could replenish our energy. It's good. happens here is I think that yeah, he gained one energy and then got poisoned again. Let's see, blocks all damage when attacked by one or less cards. Less cards is good. This guy is dead. This guy is dead. So we get to the next steps. I'm taking energy here. Yeah, boss getting strong, but my strategy is to ignore the boss for this turn because it's pretty nasty going at 3 or below 3 when all the other enemies can kill you pretty much right away. Um, so this is burn to a random player card. This is definitely bad. Need to remove this guy. Reflect this guy. I really want to go for the treasure, so I'm opening the second lock here, and the last lock is left again. Shit, so we have to discard this actually. And and since we're in the last depths, we might not see the chest again, so okay. Reflect. This guy hits for 4. We kill this guy. And then he increases to 5. Ugh, I don't want to do that. Okay, well, discards those cards. This guy's done. Let's see. This guy damages this guy, then remove this guy. Yeah, we just get rid of this card. 8 left. I think we have, yeah, both the attack for 2, attack for 1. This guy has increased. Yeah, I think that's it. So I think we're pretty much done for this run here. Just avoid the Tavern guy and then we're good. Okay, sadly we couldn't kill the boss, but we completed the quest. Never got below 3. And might take another upgrade for cards. This is pretty strong as well, so even more poison damage. And now we have a more costly option here. Improve one of our character cards. Or remove a card from our deck and add a random character card. Which is even... So, let's see. Which cards are not... This is one of the starting cards. So removing that. And then we can pick reduce the cost of our spells by 1. That's from the Flame Mage, and then we get a duplication of our own cards, basically. So we can get even a second poison potion in the first version. And obviously, this is also a not explained mechanic, but you can get all character cards, meaning you can also get upgrades here. You could get basically the third upgrade of each of those as well, which is pretty cool. So I think I'm taking this. Okay, so since I think we finished here, we don't have any new taverns to discover, and then we just go to the last one. Just remind ourselves really quick. Discards 3 cards, so this is the final version of this boss, which is pretty strong. Free energy consumption doesn't matter really because we can't select it unless it's shock. 25 HP and discards 3 random cards and only loses 3 health. And we would need to select 2 bonfire cards to get the quest. And then a random enemy is frozen. So this could be good, this could be bad. I don't know, let's see. Let's see. Damage freezes 4 random cards, increases adjacent energy of adjacent cards by 3. That's also pretty nasty. And this is the let's see, this is the ancient altar, which basically means you have to offer one of your cards to get the treasure. Okay, let's see. Burnt. So we have to. No, we don't have to. We can't. Shouldn't be freezing this guy. Should be actually attacking this guy. This is dead. This guy is dead. My energy is frozen, so I can reuse it, which is good. I'm tempted to hit this guy, but 4 then 4 energy consumption on this card is also pretty bad, so we don't do that. Just kill those. Drawn gives the monster 2 health. Drawn gives the monster 2 health, and those guys buffed each other. But luckily, I do have my swords or blade master guy. Those guys taking energy again here, and this doesn't get any better. Don't want to push my yeah, energy potion to 3 cost. It's bad. Damaged blocks all damage when attacked by 2 or less cards. So we actually will have to have. I think this guy blocks everything because we only attack him with this card and this card because the poison card already triggered here. But still, I think we can just discard. No, we can't discard him because he was frozen, so we have to keep him around for 1 more turn. Okay, this is the first version where we actually have to select enemies first. Let's see. This is good because he's now shocked. Let's see. Shock, that, and then replenish some energy here. And then he dies. So we still have six left. Next attack card deals 1 extra damage, isn't too strong. We'll just take the energy replenish here. Go, 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 go. So, oh, that's a really nasty card. Shit. So he had 3 random monsters on draw, which is not not avoidable. Definitely have to get rid of him and leave him here so he dies of poison and doesn't come back anytime soon. Actually, I actually don't want this to be poisoned because then it increases the energy of a card again. This card drawn. This guy also would increase energy of 3. That's really, really bad. And they both roll. That's even worse. So let's see. I don't want this guy to be discarded for sure because that's the biggest threat. So, but those guys are pretty nasty as well. I'm basically sacrificing my replenish card here. This guy has to be with that. Ooh, I'm taking some hits from those guys because I not here when I start to use my poison. This guy also discards, also adds 3 random monsters. That is really nasty. Discard, discard. Drawn. So this guy's frozen. I'm replenishing my health here. And I'm drafting my last card. Let's see. Both of those don't synergize with anything we have, but this guy actually synergizes with our ally. Gives him to attack. It's a lot of, quite a lot of health, so taking him as a meat shield. We still need 5 guys dead for the boss to spawn. Discard last or first attack for 5, so have to take care of this one. We don't this guy, I think. I would have to go around. That's dead. He's dead. He's dead. He's also dead. And then we have still 2 cards left. Yeah, 2 monsters left for the boss. Okay, let's burn. Attack, attack, attack. Could use this to reflect, but it reflects it on itself. We could use him as a meat shield, actually. And this guy straight up blocks 3 damage, which is also not very good. So we would need more monsters dead to spawn the boss, right? So okay, I think I'm going for straight energy replenish here. It's tough. Don't feel like that we have enough momentum, so to speak, to actually get something. So we can poison this guy, freeze him, so he doesn't discard, which is good. He's dead, he's dead. That was a good turn. And there's the boss. And now the boss will actually accelerate the game pretty much, because he will discard 3 cards every turn. Which will make the game quite fast. And we have to see we can hit him. Would be cool if he got shocked. I think this guy shocked the card that was discarded already. That's why no one is shocked. Oh, and this guy is also pretty nasty. We have a lot of high damage cards here on board, but we can't select this guy, right? So he's doesn't help. What do we do? This would kill him. Doesn't help us at all. This means 3 damage. This is also not 3 damage because he gets killed. Energy drain, because I only have 1. Drains for 3 already, so he's 2. Yeah, 1 energy from me and then 2 energy from him, so he's at 3, but still dies of that. I'm thinking if we should remove the totem, because that can be pretty nasty. It increases energy for adjacent cards, and my healing options going away by that is really bad. So even though he's dead, can we this guy? Let's see. Discard, discard, discard. 5 energy or 5 health? I think 5 health is better. And we selected 2 bonfire cards now, which is good for the quest. But I'm still thinking that we might not be able to get the boss. This card already dead. This guy is nasty. We need to remove him pretty much. Can't do anything about that. This guy attacks for 1 and blocks 2 damage, but you can poison him. He's frozen, so he won't discard, so he's dead. Nice, the bomb got discarded. This is good for us. And now we have to get rid of this guy again, I think. We can honor he. Now the reflection works again. I don't know what's wrong here. That's really stupid, I think. Something's wrong. If we take this guy with us, then he reflects the extra damage on himself. This guy will die anyway. We can move this guy. Damages and buffs himself from the damage. 0 energy. Taking that. I also want to do this, right? So if he doesn't discard it, I think I will sacrifice one. No! Speaking of that, shit, so treasure gone because he killed it. Oh, he discarded it. So, now is the question. So the door has yet to spawn, but this guy is already spawned. So, and he will attack for 2 at the end of the turn and increase for 2. So you will attack for 4 the next turn, which is super dangerous. I would have said, let's poison this guy. Because he discarded, I think, I didn't recognize it, but now I'm realizing he discarded this card like 2 times. That's why he wasn't poisoned at all. That's the only card that I was banking on to actually poison him and accelerate his demise, but shitty enough, I couldn't use it. So now I'm stuck with he's still at 16 HP, and I rather win the game than just trying to do shenanigans with this guy, because I could like postpone the end of the game, not trying to poison this guy, hoping for this guy to appear again, then maybe again poison him and then accelerate his death, but I don't think I can do it. So I think for now we just whatever, poison here, get some energy back, then just wait for the door to appear and then just leave, because next turn he will definitely be very nasty. Uh, and if you wonder, yes, there's a extra code for him to not discard the tavern door, which would be really it's, not unwinnable in this situation. Okay, anyways, I'm just taking the win here, even though I can't kill the boss, and yeah, have a pretty hefty score actually. 21 gold score is pretty good because we had so much extra gold for the treasures. Taverns completed. Bosses only 3 of 5, quests 4 of 5, and then extra gold 9 was pretty good. Just look at the deck real quick. We didn't have that much equipment. Obviously, the reflect armor, we saw some bugs here. I don't know. Sometimes it reflected, sometimes it didn't reflect. Sometimes it actually protected us from burn damage from the card, which also shouldn't happen. And those guys, the Tavern charms are pretty good, I think. So again, if you struggle with energy consumption or health reduction, try go for those. They're pretty good. And our deck, I think was pretty strong. I actually didn't use the double sword damage not that often. And this guy, I had one run where I had 3 of those from the duplicate event. That was pretty nasty. So yeah, those are pretty good as well. Those meat shields, also called allies. The game will continue to improve with all your feedback, and we obviously also want to improve and add a few things here and there. And as said, once Maxer starts adding graphics, this can only get better. And well, obviously, once the bugs are fixed, this is also getting way better. And yeah, again, thanks for coming by. And yeah, see you next time. Bye bye.